When food disappears, these Depression-era soup cubes keep you alive for 2 years. Store shelves look permanent until one rough season wipes them clean. History proved that during the Great Depression, when ordinary families stretched scraps of meat into survival food that could outlast winter, shortages, and panic buying. Hidden inside many old kitchens was a trick almost nobody talks about anymore. It was not canned soup, expensive freeze-dried meals, or chemical-packed rations. It was a dense homemade soup cube built from cheap beef, bones, fat, vegetables, salt, and patience. One small block could turn boiling water into a rich meal within seconds. In hard times, that kind of food becomes pure gold. The genius behind these cubes starts with the cut of meat. Fancy lean steaks fail this test completely. Tough bone-in beef with thick fat layers works far better because survival food is not about elegance. It is about calories, minerals, collagen, and staying power. During economic collapse, families learned that bones held hidden nutrition most people ignored. Long-simmered collagen strengthened joints, added body to broth, and created a dense texture that froze beautifully. The fat mattered just as much. Fat stores energy, carries flavor, and helps the cube stay satisfying when fresh food becomes scarce. The process begins with high heat and aggressive browning. That dark crust on the beef is not cosmetic. It locks flavor into the meat while creating deep roasted notes inside the final broth. Skip the browning step and the soup tastes weak and flat. Old survival kitchens understood this perfectly. Every bit of flavor mattered because simple ingredients had to feel filling and comforting. Once the beef develops that rich crust, onions, carrots, and garlic enter the pan. The vegetables absorb the brown drippings and caramelized bits stuck to the bottom. That layer contains concentrated flavor that modern cooks often wash away without thinking. Onions do more than improve taste. They naturally deepen savory flavor and make the broth feel richer than it really is. Carrots add sweetness, color, and valuable nutrients like beta-carotene. Garlic brings warmth and sharpness while helping the soup taste slow-cooked even after freezing. Nothing is wasted. After the beef rests briefly in foil, the meat gets chopped into chunks and blended with the roasted vegetables. Hot water is added carefully until the mixture becomes thick like heavy porridge. The goal is density, not watery soup. Dense cubes freeze better, store longer, and deliver stronger flavor later. Salt becomes the silent protector in this recipe. Most people think it only adds flavor, but it also acts as a preservation tool. Combined with freezing, salt helps these cubes stay usable for astonishing lengths of time. Wrapped tightly against freezer burn, they can remain stable for well over 2 years without losing much quality. That makes them powerful insurance during emergencies. A freezer full of soup cubes can quietly hold dozens of meals without taking much space. When storms hit, supply chains fail, or money becomes tight, one cube and boiling water can still produce a hot meal within 1 minute. The shaping process is simple but important. The thick mixture gets pressed into a lined tray and frozen until firm enough to cut. Uniform cubes matter because consistency creates reliable portions. Each cube becomes one serving. That allows careful rationing during difficult periods when every calorie counts. From a relatively small amount of beef, families can create more than 20 individual soup portions. That efficiency explains why versions of this method survive through economic hardship, wars, and brutal winters across different countries for generations. Proper wrapping matters just as much as proper cooking. Each cube should be sealed tightly in foil or protective freezer material. Exposure to air destroys flavor and causes freezer burn. Strong wrapping keeps the cubes tasting like rich beef instead of stale ice. This detail sounds small, yet long-term food storage always depends on controlling moisture, air, and odor contamination. Experienced preppers understand that tiny mistakes ruin large food reserves over time. Nutrition is where these cubes become truly impressive. Each one delivers protein, natural fat, collagen, minerals, and vegetables in concentrated form. Unlike processed instant soups loaded with fillers and chemicals, these cubes contain real food with genuine staying power. The collagen creates a thick texture that feels satisfying and warming. The fat helps maintain energy levels. The protein supports muscle and recovery. During emergencies, morale matters almost as much as calories. A hot savory meal can calm fear faster than cold packaged snacks ever could. There is also a psychological advantage hidden inside this old technique. Most emergency food feels depressing before the package even opens. These soup cubes feel different. The smell alone creates comfort because the broth tastes homemade instead of industrial. That emotional effect becomes powerful during blackouts, disasters, or financial hardship. Human beings survive longer when routine and comfort remain intact. Modern survival culture often chases expensive gadgets, tactical gear, and flashy freeze-dried buckets with 20-year labels. Yet some of the smartest preparedness methods came from poor families who simply refused to waste anything. These soup cubes prove that resilience is usually built from ordinary ingredients used intelligently. One cheap cut of beef, a few vegetables, some salt, and careful preparation can quietly create weeks of emergency meals. When shelves finally go empty, that forgotten knowledge may matter more than anything sitting inside a store. That is why old kitchen knowledge still deserves respect today. Preparedness is not always about massive bunkers or expensive storage rooms. Sometimes it is about learning the overlooked techniques that carried ordinary people through hunger, freezing winters, and empty markets decades ago. These cubes are compact, cheap, nutritious, and practical. They transform scraps into security. A single afternoon of cooking can create months of backup meals waiting in the freezer. When trouble arrives and everyone else rushes the stores in panic, your next hot meal could already be sitting behind a freezer door.